A guttural cry ripped through the humid air, followed by the distant rhythmic splash of sandaled feet in the Nile's murky shallows. I instinctively clamped a hand over my son's mouth, pulling his small frame tighter against my chest. The boy whimpered, his eyes wide and unblinking, reflecting the dense tangled papyrus reeds that surrounded us. I shielded him with my body, every breath a shallow gasp, every muscle tensed, as I pressed deeper into the muddy water, the thick stalk scraping against my face. The scent of decaying vegetation and stagnant water filled my nostrils, mingling with the metallic tang of fear. The soldiers were close. I could hear their curses, their labored breathing, the snapping of dry reeds as they thrashed through the marshland. They were a pack of jackals, relentless and closing in, and I was a cornered gazelle, with only my admittedly small frame between them and my precious child. A dragonfly, iridescent blue, hovered for a moment before my eyes, an indifferent, beautiful speck in my nightmare. I focused on it, on anything but the growing certainty that we had been found. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Brandon, and welcome to the Time Travelers Club. So last time we learned about the origins of Isis, her wedded bliss, and how was all shattered by petty jealousy and sibling rivalry. We've seen her rise above it all, though, and defied the impossible. She even rose the dead and conceived a miracle child in one night of that brief reunion. But now she has fled with her baby to the marshy delta to the north in search of refuge. But Set, not content with a potential political threat out in the world, was furiously hunting them down. The constant threat of Set and his nasty minions, often in the form of scorpions, snakes, or other venomous critters, are always sniffing around. But as if that wasn't enough, it's not just Set they have to worry about either. The natural world of the swamps itself is dangerous. Those venomous animals, diseases, and just plain starvation are daily concerns. This is where Isis truly shines as the ultimate divine protective mother. She's not performing grand cosmic spells yet. Her magic is all about keeping Horus, her son, alive and safe. One of the most famous parts of this period involved Horus getting into trouble. He's a baby after all, and babies explore. So he's frequently bitten by venomous creatures, most famously scorpions, as they are often said to be sent by Set himself. These incidents are absolutely crucial because this is where Isis's healing powers come to the fore. She uses her powerful incantations and sheer magical might to heal Horus, often by drawing out the poison with her touch or through spoken spells. These stories weren't just bedtime tales. They formed the basis of many ancient Egyptian healing spells, particularly for snake bites, scorpion stings, where people would literally invoke Isis's name to heal their own children. Beyond the dramatic near-death experience, Isis is just a diligent, nurturing parent. She makes sure Horus is fed, bathed, and protected from the elements. She's building their shelter, finding food, and doing all the things a single mom needs to do to keep her child alive. She's constantly on guard, though, listening for danger, sensing Set's proximity. Her watchfulness is a persistent theme. Imagine the stress. She can't let her guard down for a second.
No, definitely not. When you are being hunted, um,
Mhm.
constant awareness. Definitely constant awareness.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, I don't know. Feels familiar. Hmm.
A little bit. A little bit. Maybe we're
Hmm.
seeing some parallels in the world that we have at present. Who knows?
Huh.
History
Almost
likes
like
to
a
repeat
universal
itself.
theme.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We love circumambulation of history.
Mm-hmm.
While often alone, Isis does get a bit of divine assistance, which really underscores how important Horus's survival is to the cosmos. Suket, Serket, the scorpion goddess, who surprisingly is also associated with protection from venomous bites, is sometimes depicted sending 7 scorpions to guard Isis and Horus. In one famous tale, these scorpions, led by Tefn, actually go full-on divine retribution on a wealthy woman who denied Isis and Horus shelter, showing that divine justice and a bit of dramatic irony was always at play. This ibis-headed god of wisdom and magic, Thoth, was occasionally pops in to offer Isis some guidance, provide new spells, or just offer a bit of divine reassurance. He's like the wise uncle who shows up with invaluable advice, although it's pretty rare. Some myths suggest that the humble villagers, recognizing Isis's divine aura, or simply her plight as a mother, might offer small acts of kindness. This subtly highlights Isis's vulnerability and her reliance on simple human compassion, despite her divine status, which is huge. And honestly,
Hmm.
we need to be aware. Truly,
Yes.
as people over the entire world, we need to be aware. The next generation is always watching. Always.
Yep. Tale as old as time, guys. I mean, be on the right side of history. That's all I'm saying.
And I second, third, and fourth that.
Mm-hmm.
This time in the marshes isn't just a side story. It is absolutely vital for several reasons. By surviving and growing up despite Set's best efforts, Horus's claims to the throne are solidified. His mere existence, protected by his mother's unwavering love, makes him the rightful heir. So, again, we spoke about her as the throne. She is depicted as the
Mm-hmm.
throne. She is the kingdom. The kingdom chose Horus. Just remember
Mm-hmm.
that. His vulnerable
Mm-hmm.
childhood makes his eventual triumph even more meaningful. As mentioned, all of those scorpion bites and snake encounters and Isis's successful healing of them established her as the go-to goddess for healing. Her spells became templates and amulets of Isis nursing Horus, Isis lactans, became incredibly popular protective charm for mothers and children. This period also shows that even a divine heir, born of gods, is fragile in infancy. It emphasizes that future pharaohs, though divine, need protection and proper nurturing to reach their destiny. Furthermore, the Isis lactans, absolutely the motif is iconic. It is a powerful symbol of maternal love, nourishment, and protection. This image transcended Egyptian culture, influencing later depictions of the nurturing divine figure across various religions and beliefs that are still in practice today.
Yeah. I mean, so as our history major, you have seen this image, guys. It's, a woman with a bare breast exposed, nursing her child, right? That image, whatever you're depicting, that's the correct one. And it starts here, but you see it all the way into Christian times through the Renaissance, like it just that where it's the Virgin Mary and Jesus, but it's that image is prolific.
Incredibly.
And it shows the power of motherhood. And, in those, because in those pictures, right, it'll be, like Mary nursing Jesus, but in those paintings, right, the subject matter is Mary more than Jesus, right? Which is, if you really think about kind of, thinking about Christian context and stuff, weird, right? But like it's showing Mary as a powerful figure in those, right?
Yes.
She's in this God on earth, whatever, um, is in a vulnerable state. It's an infant. He's an infant. So without her, die. And this comes from this story. Horus is the future hero and king and blah, 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 blah. But without Isis, there would have been nothing. Set, evil would have won, lost, without her nurturing goodness.
Absolutely.
So, Tell your mom you love her. Go send that text right now. Unless
Do
she's
it.
terrible. But,
Unless she's
she's a
horrible,
good
but
mom.
it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, But, so, while Horace is young, this time in the Delta is secretly preparing him for his eventual destiny as an Avenger. Isis is not just his mother. She's his first teacher and protector, instilling him with the strength and purpose he'll need to eventually comfort and confront, not comfort him, confront and defeat Set. Maybe they hug it out. I don't know. That'd be
I
kind of
mean,
cool.
possibly, but at the same time,
A little
probably
less
not.
dramatic. Yeah, probably not. In essence, Isis's time with Horus as a child is profound narrative about Divine Mother's unwavering love, sacrifice, and endless resourcefulness in the face of immense danger. It transforms Isis from the grieving widow into a fierce, protective, and ultimately triumphant maternal figure whose magical prowess is channeled not for grand cosmic purposes, but for the most fundamental and relatable act of safeguarding her beloved child. This period solidifies her role as a universal mother goddess, resonating deeply with the human experience of parenthood. So, all right. So we've nurtured baby Horus through the perilous marshes of Isis, seeing him survive scorpion stings and Set just being, lurking out there, waiting. Now let's fast forward a bit. Horus is no longer the fragile infant anymore. He's grown into a strong, determined young god, often depicted as a man with a falcon's head, ready to claim his birthright. And what is his birthright? The throne of Egypt. The one that his uncle stole from his dad, the dead dad,
Mm-hmm.
one who I brought back to life and made sure he had a golden dong so that way Horus could be born. She went through a lot of work.
She did a lot of things for this throne. Come on.
Right. The least he could do is actually own up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So, the throne of Egypt is the thing, currently occupied by said murderous uncle, Set. The next phase of the myth is essentially a cosmic courtroom drama. So think Law and Order SVU now. Bum. Mixed with the epic wrestling matches, because that checks out. All of this is overseen by a somewhat indecisive divine tribunal. And at every turn, you can bet Isis is right there, orchestrating, advocating, and occasionally getting herself into trouble. But it's all for her son, right?
It is, and it is for divine order because we have to remember, what did Isis's husband represent? He was order to
Right.
Set's chaos, and she is trying to get order back from the brink.
Back to
So,
Ma'at.
back to Ma'at. Horus, now a grown and capable god, formally steps forward to challenge Set for the kingship. This isn't just a brawl. It is a legal and spiritual dispute brought before the Ennead, the council of the 9 most important gods, led by the supreme god, Ra. The stakes are monumental. Who is the rightful ruler of Egypt? Is it the legitimate heir, Horus, or the powerful usurper, Set? The arguments are
That's a good question.
fierce. Go for it.
Sorry, this is the delay, and I feel like I always sound like I'm interrupting you. I
No,
was just
you're
gonna say, and
not.
that's an important thing, though, right? I mean, even like in modern context, we have this problem, right? It's like, okay, is it divine, birthright? Is that the way, or is it right by the strongest? It's a good question, like,
Mm-hmm.
how come in some cases, if you conquer someone, that's legitimate because they quote unquote won, versus like, no, other cases, even though you won, you're not legitimate because there's someone else who we think should be more legitimate, right? And
No,
so
and
it's
that is a tale as old as time itself because power is always sought after, regardless
hmm
of who it is that is seeking it. Like in these cases, these are actual gods, but you can see
hmm
that, and we'll probably cover this pattern so many times. You know,
hmm
the ins and outs of legitimacy and rightful ownership of a throne. Um, and quite frankly, I can't say that there is an actual answer versus the will of whatever council or whatever peoples are the ones that
Yeah,
are being ruled at that time.
yeah, and I was going to say this myth is not so, but you see a little bit something different with like the Greek myths and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think about the Titan Maki and all that. It's so you got Gaia and Uranus, right? Uranos. Um, and then Uranos gets overthrown by his child. And part of it's like, okay, well, could be kind of birthright, but it's more violent than that. And it's with the support of other titans. And then that one's overthrown by, yes, his son, but again, it's about new strength. Like, and it's like the to the strong. It goes to the strong. If that happens to be your child, great, I guess. But for them, that's how they've answered that question, is they believe whoever's the strongest, at least in theory, that's, legitimate. So if your
Mm-hmm.
kingdom gets overthrown by someone stronger, well, maybe you should have been stronger.
Sucks
Whereas
to
the
suck. You
Egyptians,
suck.
yeah. But if you look at like Egyptian like history stuff, right? They'll have these like you have like, Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, New Kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the quote unquote intermediate periods, right? And those intermediate periods are always these periods of time where it's like, well, there was like a foreign force that took us over and it sucked. The propaganda is, well, it sucked for a while, even though there's a lot of archaeological evidence that points otherwise, right? Because they bring technology and everything that the Egyptians ended up needing.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get back to the Middle Kingdom or the New Kingdom, right? It's like, okay, but now we're back on track. The legitimate, the Pharaoh Egyptian person, Ma'at is restored. So
Mm-hmm.
to them, it's not about just being strong. There's more to it than that. And this myth
Absolutely.
is going to be a good reflection of it.
Fully agreed. All right. So the arguments are fierce. Horus, backed by his powerful mother, argues his lineage and that Set's rule is founded on murder and chaos. Set, on the other hand, boasts of his strength, his ability to control the wild forces of the desert, and probably mocks Horus's marsh upbringing. How can somebody who grew up in a marsh hiding behind his mother be the next king?
Yeah, you
Really
country hick,
defaming, really bringing him down. The divine
country
judges,
bumpkin.
absolutely. The divine judges often find themselves at an impasse. Ra, for instance, sometimes sides with Set, finding him more powerful and intimidating. Other gods might lean towards Horus, recognizing the injustice done to Osiris. It is a classic power struggle, but with divine consequences. It is that gigantic rock being thrown in a pond and having those ripple
Mm-hmm.
effects outwards. And so it is, all right, what kind of ripple effects do we want to have? Do we want to continue with
Mm-hmm.
chaos, or do we want to bring about Ma'at?
Mm-hmm.
So here's where Isis really shines. She's not just sitting on the sidelines cheering. She's actively, strategically, and often controversially involved in securing Horus's victory. Isis uses her incredible wisdom and persuasive abilities to argue Horus's case before the Divine Council. She reminds them of Osiris's benevolent reign, Set's treachery, and the cosmic disorder that has resulted from his illegitimate rule. Her words carry immense weight, and when the divine debate isn't enough, or when Set retorts to cheating, which he always does, Isis isn't above using her formidable magic to tip the scales.
Just kind of
And
cheating, but hey,
I
it's okay when
mean,
she does that. Just
it's
saying, it's
it's
different because
not
I'm right.
it's not, but at the same time, it is fighting fire with fire. It is, okay,
Yeah,
let's go tit for tat. Let's be equivalent. Let's do this.
I just love that. It's like he's a dirty, dirty cheater, but I'm also going to go over here and it's my pets. It's just I'm on her side, guys. I'm just pointing out some flaws in her
I
logic. She's
mean,
not the god of logic. She's the god of
no.
magic.
She is the goddess of magic and the goddess of the throne. For a reason. So
Truth and
in
logic are what she says it is. Damn it.
I mean, magic is bending the universe to your will. So I'm here
Right.
for that.
So
In one famous episode, Horus and Set transform into hippopotamuses.
hippopotami, or
Hippopotami.
sometimes seals. But where would they even find these? Like I just like it's like some of the or they were seals, and I'm like, where the hell are seals in Egypt? That is not the
Yeah.
list of the animals. I don't. I'm sure they're there. It just feels weird. Like why would that?
That doesn't
Not
seem
crocodiles or
appropriate.
something like that.
No.
Yeah,
That
like
really
it's
doesn't
like when I think of
seem
all the
appropriate.
gods with all their different little heads, it's not seal. But whatever. Okay. Hippos just seem more thematic to me, I guess.
And it seems more appropriate to me as well. So they would go on to dive into the water for a contest of endurance. The gods declare that whoever can stay submerged for a certain amount of time wins. Isis, ever the concerned mother, can't bear the thought of Horus being harmed, so she conjures a magical harpoon, or a net, and throws it into the water to try and catch Set. But because both gods are in animal form, she accidentally strikes Horus first. Realizing her mistake, she pulls out the harpoon, heals him, and throws it in again, this time hitting Set. This moment highlights both her fierce protectiveness and the potential for chaos even in divine interventions. Set, of course, cries foul, and the gods have to reset the contest. Thanks, Mom.
Which,
You fucked it up.
right. I mean, like, which, no, duh. I mean,
Oh,
like, which, I mean, duh. Like, I love this. Like, so, first of all, she's cheating, guys, and she misses. And then, I love the audacity. She does it again. Like, of course she got caught. She might have gotten away with it if she had gotten it the first time, but, like, the second
yeah.
time? Come
And it
on.
just, she loves her kids so much. Isis is a little bit of a helicopter parent, and you know what? We love her for it, but at
But
the
it's
same
like, that's so
time,
funny.
relax, Mom.
Like, so, sorry, babe, didn't mean to stab you. I mean to stab him. Ha! Like, it's just like, and when the god of chaos and cheating calls you out, like, maybe,
She's bad at
I think she's
cheating.
being
That's the
there.
funny
I
part.
mean, to be fair, that's why she's not the goddess of cheating because she sucks at it. So, but she meant
Agreed.
well. So, in the next contest is where we see perhaps Isis more audacious and frankly weird magical move. Warning. This is just a warning for everybody here. We are about to talk about sex. And it's weird. If you're sensitive to that sort of thing, just move on. But I'm going to talk about it. So, Set, which we have to remember, is Horus's uncle. I'm just putting that out into the world, okay? Attempts to sexually assault his nephew, Horus. That's bad. That's bad.
Yep.
It's a story, it's a myth, but that is bad. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is in hope to humiliate him and prove his own dominance by making Horus subservient. In the ancient world, there is sexuality is less about gender and so much about roles. Some of that this could be a reflection of the Greeks a little bit because this a little deja vu with them with this one. But you know, that's a rabbit hole. Point is that in the ancient world, it's less about being gay being the problem and more about being are you the bottom? If you're the bottom, well, Even Julius Caesar had problems with this later when he was accused of being a bottom. It literally can destabilize your claims to anything. So that is the context we're talking about this in. So he is trying to prove his dominance by making Horus subservient. So he's trying to rape him like it's a prison shower and Horus had just dropped the soap, right? And thank God, however, Isis does intervene here. But this is where I'm not going to lie, it gets really fucking weird. Like, you've been warned. She goes on to collect Set semen, whatever that means, and then through cunning, places it on Horus's semen somehow. Okay, I don't know how she's getting her son's semen, and puts it on some lettuce, a food that Set is really apparently known to enjoy. He really likes his salads. Okay,
Oh, right in front of my
and then
salad.
Set eats it
Oh, no.
right in front of my salad.
Right in front of my
God.
salad. No, no. Ah,
Like, I know some of this is like myths and like different times, guys, and I know, but like this, I just cannot fathom how this could have never been weird. Like, how this could
no.
have ever been not weird.
Ah. And it's
Like,
it is when you think of it in human terms, but when you think of it in godlike terms, semen is life force. That is what they described as the seed, even though we know that this is completely inaccurate. But this is somebody's power.
I
And
just have the worst
uh,
image in my head right now. Of, how did Isis get it from her son? Well, probably involved her with a rubber glove and a handy chain. Just what an
yuck.
image!
You know what?
What an
I
image!
did not need to think about that. I love you, but no.
You're, you're welcome. You're welcome. Otherwise, she's what, conjuring it like a fucking snake charmer out of his dick? I don't know. I don't know. Like, she's a goddess of magic, but like, Magic Mike apparently. I don't know.
Oh.
No, there's no good way this is happening. Okay, so be creative, guys. Uh, so now, apparently, Thoth is on this as well. Okay, so when later Set boasts about having dominated Gross, Horus, his nephew, Thoth magically calls forth the semen. And Set's semen emerges from the swamp. Because, I guess Isis just dumped it somewhere, which, whatever. But Horus's semen, which Set had not known he had consumed, again, guys, consent. No one's consenting here. God. Emerges from Set's forehead. I don't know why the forehead specifically, but a lot of really messed up imagery is going on. Snake Charmer again.
Yeah.
Effectively proving Horus's purity and potency while humiliating Set's before the gods.
What I have to think in this case is that Isis transfigured herself to look like Horus and allowed herself to be dominated in order to have that in Set's mind.
Yeah.
And that's
Or maybe like,
oh,
yeah, or like she is goddess of magic. Maybe she just like transformed like a scarecrow or something. I don't
possibly,
know. Or like
quite
a hippo,
possibly,
a
quite
pool,
possibly.
like and that's why it's up in the swamp.
Maybe
Just
it
saying.
was just a scarecrow made of papyri. Who knows?
And
But
none of this is that part's not canon, guys. We're
oh,
just trying to fill in some holes.
fill in some blanks, do something. But it does seem a little incomplete right here, and uh,
So there are a lot of questions with this part of the story, right?
mm-hmm.
Many that we probably don't want the answers to, like how did she get a hold of said semen? Was she there to like block it as it went in? But somehow no one noticed. And then did she get her son to put on some lettuce? Like God, like messed up salad dressing. Also,
Ugh.
why did it come out his forehead? I'm hung up on that. Like if he ate it, why is it coming out his forehead? Like
Divinity and that's where divine
weird
power
things.
goes and ugh.
Yes, I'm not
Ugh.
even talking about the more glaringly problematic stuff, but we're getting there. So,
Oh
I'm just
god.
gonna let you take over
Yep. Thank you. Pass it back this way. All
for
right.
sharing this.
Whew. So let's take a long and healthy step back from this part for right now. Keep in mind that this act, while really, really, really messed up according to modern sensibilities, and for good reason, because the consent in this particular scene is just non existent in every single aspect. This was incredibly powerful in ancient Egypt. To the Egyptians, it is demonstrating Isis's mastery over fertility, purity, and cunning strategy, ultimately validating Horus's divine potency. So, if you thought this couldn't get more messed up, you would be incorrect. In a moment that underscores the, shall we say, complex familial ties, Isis sometimes shows mercy to Set. He is her brother after all. After one of their contests, she, in some versions of the story, set free or let him go when Horus has him cornered. This act of compassion enrages Horus, who feels his mother is undermining his quest for vengeance. In some versions of the myth, Horus, in a fit of fury, even physically assaults Isis, sometimes cutting off her head, which Thoth then magically replaces, often with a cow's head, linking her to Hathor. This volatile moment highlights the tension between familial bonds and the pursuit of justice. And it's a stark reminder that even gods have messy family dynamics. And in
No
these
shit.
in these myths, I have to wonder because obviously Set does have a demographic of followers. And
Mm-hmm.
there's what Seti the First was a worshiper, if I remember correctly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like they named themselves after their gods for a reason, and I have to wonder just as like a sidebar if some of these, oh, but she did love her brother and she did, not want him killed, was potentially a later add-on because it makes no sense in the greater scope for myself. Like truly it
Well,
feels kind of like an addition, like a little spicy add-on.
yeah, but the other thing is like we have to remember the context here. The Egyptian kingdoms, right? From sunrise to sunset, were almost 3 millennia.
Yeah.
Her story alone is, we'll say, about 2,000 years BCE, right? So we'll say 2,000 years, right? She of full worship of her, right? Roughly. In that time, we have no record of the original. It's not like we have like, oh, they left one right here. We know what the original story was right here. Like this whole thing is probably just a Mod Podge. Who knows what the original story was? It could have been way more like she was on his side and there was a lot more like nuance. But, over time, they made him look like the bad guy or vice versa, like you're saying, where he was the bad guy. And then over time, and then you have to start wondering, well, why would they worship essentially Satan, you know? And that's where I'm like, maybe he wasn't always portrayed that way. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, how Set is viewed. Um, and why it's not, and while in this myth he's kind of portrayed as the boogeyman, how like in practice maybe he really wasn't.
Yeah.
Um, and you see this with Kronos too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Saturn, like
Yep.
the Romans, on the one hand go, yeah, he was a baby-eaten monster, but also pretty cool once he got overthrown. He chilled the fuck out, I guess. Yeah. Like, you're like, okay. But so, I mean, it's not unprecedented, but just keep that in mind. Like, this is the story handed to us with probably so much editing, it's not even the original story anymore. So
It
we'll
is
keep
a
that in
quilt.
mind.
It is a quilt that has been
Yeah.
added on over millennia. So,
Yeah.
the divine tribunal's deliberations are often lengthy and indecisive. They might send letters to Osiris in the underworld for his input. He always unequivocally supports Horus. They might even try to mediate, but eventually, after all the magical duels, arguments, and manipulations, the gods finally reach a verdict. Horus is the rightful king of Egypt. This decision restores Ma'at, cosmic order and justice to the land. Set's chaotic reign is over. Horus ascends to the throne, embodying the living king, while Osiris continues to rule the Duat, the realm of the dead. This dual kingship, living king as Horus, deceased king as Osiris, became the foundational theological principle of Egyptian pharaohs.
Mm-hmm. So, remember what I said a few minutes ago? Set isn't destroyed. Egyptian gods rarely are, unlike our Greek counterparts, you know.
Mhm.
Instead, he is often banished from Egypt or given a new role. Sometimes he's depicted as becoming a protector of Ra's solar boat as it travels through the underworld, fighting off the serpent, um, which the Greek version is Apophis. I think it's Pet or something like that in Egyptian. My point is that it's almost kind of interesting here because it's like, okay, you're a big bad dude of chaos and shit. Um, we're gonna project paperclip you and use your talents for good, I guess. You know, which it's like, defeating other demons and bad guys. You know, so it's like, give them an outlet, I guess. This gives them a place in the cosmic order, albeit a less prominent one than kingship. Um, Isis Isis's role in this entire saga, though, is nothing but short of indispensable. Without her, let's think about that, guys. Without her, Osiris would have remained dismembered and lost. You just would have been a pile of body parts somewhere. Or even if she really hadn't gone out for him in the first place, just been holding up someone's house as a pillar, and no one would have ever known until they did demo. Yikes. Horus would never have been conceived. Again, she made the golden dong. That's pretty important.
Mhm.
Horus would have never survived infancy. There would be no king, there had been no challenging. And during this big fight, without her, Horus probably would never have won, especially after that whole salad thing. Um, Probably got sexually assaulted by his uncle in front of everyone before dying a violent death. You know,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
no one wants that.
no, nobody
So,
wants that.
um, yeah.
So
So, I mean,
Isis, oof, oof.
yeah.
Isis is not just a grieving widow or a nurturing mother. She is a shrewd strategist, a powerful magician, a relentless advocate, and an unwavering force that ensured the legitimate lineage of kingship continued. Her intelligence, cunning, and raw magical power are on full display as she actively manipulates events, heals her son, and sways divine opinion. She is the ultimate power behind the throne and the one who truly ensures the restoration of order and justice in the world. It's a testament to her agency and pivotal importance in this entire myth cycle. What I also find fascinating about this story is despite the work of magic, on the whole, this story feels very human and relatable. While gods were indeed all powerful in the story, it is not necessarily up front and center like it is in the stories of ancient Greece and Rome. In fact, if you look the supernatural elements and then took them out of it, you would still have quite the comprehensive tale of royal intrigue. A good king who is murdered by his power-hungry brother, who usurps the throne and forces a queen to flee for her and her child's life. When that child is grown and after being protected and educated by his mother, he comes back to take what is his. And yes, there was that real wild moment there towards the end, but I hate to say that this is not necessarily an unrealistic depiction either. In the later Greek and Roman worlds, the act of getting penetrated typically means a loss of one's masculinity. And in cultures where this mattered above all else, it is part of your identity and your worth. It would be a fate worse than death in many cases. And let's be real, we're not talking about consensual relationships. But that part of the story aside, most of this is honestly pretty parallel to many real rules and dynasties around the world.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of find that endearing about Egyptian mythologies. Like they really are pretty relatable. And yeah, there's some supernatural stuff. I mean, like with, I don't know, magic and things like that and transforming into a hippo here and there. But like most of it, if you took that out, you'd still have a whole story, like you said. Like you'd still
Mm-hmm.
have a story that you could read and be like, oh, and not feel like you're missing anything.
Fully
Um,
agree.
but there are a few more stories of ISIS that we should discuss before moving on to the next part. This is a deep dive podcast after all, and you didn't think we would just tell you one story about a character and then move on. But if we tried to include them all in one episode, this would drag on for several hours. So we decided to do another part. Next time, we will discuss some of the shorter stories, but no less important ones that discuss Isis in a way that we can further flesh her out as a character, because that will become important later when we discuss certain topics this season. And of course, buckle up because they are wild in many cases. Maybe not quite as wild as some of the ones from ancient Greece or this whole lettuce fiasco, but still very interesting nonetheless.
Absolutely. Now, as you know, we are a nude podcast, and we are always looking to please the dark magic that is the algorithm. It's hard to say if ISIS would approve of this sort of magic. So whether you are listening to this or whether it be Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or YouTube, if you like us, take the time to give us a positive review. Doing this, and maybe with some help from the goddess of magic herself, it will go a long way for us. We will also be starting a Patreon pretty soon as we have enough content in the backlog, but we will post episodes about topics outside of the main purview of the main podcast, create videos, do Q&As, sell merch, and in general get up to hijinks. So keep your eye out for that.
And if you have any ideas, comments, or just want to say hi and reach out to us, you can reach us at the Time Travelers Club podcast at gmail.com. We love it when people say hi. And as always, thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Have a good one. Bye.